With retirements announced and possible changes being made to Steve Austin and Kevin Owens' WrestleMania segment, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 25th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Despite only recently signing with AEW, it seems former UFC fighter Paige VanZant could be taking a break from the promotion, with the reason given in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. VanZant wasn't at TV this week and may not be a regular for much longer, since she just signed for a BKFC fight on July 9th in London. No opponent has been named, but her fight is to be the main event. She is 0-2 in her previous BKFC fights, since BKFC is boxing with no gloves and her strengths have never been her hands. But this was the company that offered her the most money and wanted to build the company around her. While some might have been hoping to see the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or even a Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania, it was said in the Observer that there are no plans for these types of matches at the event. There has been no talk of either a men's or women's battle royal for those on the roster not booked. There are not a lot of women on the roster who are ready to fill a battle royal, but there are more than enough men. Last we heard about the Andre the Giant men's battle royal was a few weeks ago, and at the time it was probably going to take place on April 1st SmackDown show in Dallas, although there had been a possibility of it being on the March 28th Raw in Pittsburgh. Speaking of Mania, the Observer would also reveal that a reported match between Omos and Bobby Lashley might not be taking place after all. The other match listed is Omos versus Lashley, but there is a caveat. Obviously, Lashley did not undergo major shoulder surgery, as was feared from his injury suffered in the match with Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, or he wouldn't be ready. However, the injury was serious enough that he hasn't wrestled since, and is not cleared at this point. We were told this is the match provided Lashley is cleared. If he's not, then they'd have to change plans. After having MJF turn on him, Wardlow is on his own in AEW and looks to break out as the next big star. Thursday afternoon, Wardlow was removed from the roster page on the company website. Though some fans were concerned that he was cut from the promotion, it appears to simply be a part of the storyline, as Ringside News wrote. Just for clarification, Wardlow is still with AEW. We have confirmed that they are just playing the gimmick he signed with MJF and not AEW. As WrestleMania draws near, fans are looking forward to seeing the return of Cody Rhodes, with it looking like he'll be facing Seth Rollins at the event. It was said in the Observer that those in WWE that do not believe Cody is coming back are considered silly. The Seth Rollins storyline is listed as ending with a match with Cody Rhodes, which, given the respective lineups at this stage, would make the most sense on Sunday. All WWE sources indicate the belief that the deal is done and the match is happening, and that any suggestion it isn't is not the case. There are those close to the situation who are still suggesting otherwise, but one person in WWE called that silliness at this point. Obviously, from television this week, the angle hasn't changed at all, as the key thing on the show has been Rollins' inability to get on WrestleMania. WrestleVotes would go on to report that two very high-profile people were adamant to the boss that if and when Cody Rhodes arrives, he should be exactly what he was in AEW: presentation, ring gear, theme music, pyro, etc. The visual impact of the American Nightmare crossing the line is significant here. couple weeks back on SmackDown, Big E would be on the receiving end of a suplex from Ridge Holland, which led to him landing on his head and fracturing two vertebrae. On Hot 97, Kofi Kingston recalled what took place that night, saying it was easily the scariest night of my career. Obviously, the injury didn't happen to me, but I was on the inside of the ring. I see E go for that spear that he does, and he missed it, and he was on the outside there, and then him and Ridge go for that overhead suplex, and I see them go up, and they looked a little wonky. I never saw the impact, so I didn't know, I went over there and I was like, okay, everything looks fine. He's down and everything, and then the match goes on. After everything went down, just the ref was like, I don't know if he's okay. I was like, what's going on all of a sudden? The paramedics and everything start coming out. It was just really scary because it's a reminder of how quickly things can take a turn for the worst. Every move that we execute, there's always an element of danger to it, and luckily for the most part, we come out unscathed. But in those moments, literally looking at my brother in the face as the paramedics are putting the neck braces and everything on there, putting him on the stretcher, it was very scary. Myself, Woods, and a bunch of the boys went to the hospital right after, and we're just waiting. With COVID protocols, they don't really let a whole lot of people inside the emergency room. So we're literally outside, it's raining, we're outside the emergency room. We're just waiting for word. It's so strange to say luckily he only broke his C1 and C6 vertebrae. You know what I'm saying? He put out a tweet that put everything into perspective yesterday, where he said he went in to meet the doctor, and the doctor said if he had broken his neck a millimeter in one direction, he would have had a stroke. If he broke his neck in a millimeter the other direction, he would have died. The fact that he was so strong and he had so much muscle back there really saved him. And again, it could have been way worse. He's just been in great spirits the whole time. So many people have gone to visit him and just sent him so many positive messages, which he really appreciates for sure. Yeah, we really lucked out because like I said, it could have been a lot worse. We'd be having a different conversation right now. But yeah, it's just rest and recovery. We're all just kind of taking it one day at a time. We're obviously in contact with him every day, and he's in really good spirits. He does appreciate all the support these guys from everybody. While she had a successful reign as AEW Women's Champion, Britt Baker noted on Busted Open Radio that she still wants to improve as a pro wrestler. I think I'm still kind of chasing it to a degree. I recognize my accomplishments, and I'm thankful and I'm appreciative of just my self-growth, but I just want to be so much bigger and better than I am now. I fall into the trap sometimes that I set goals that maybe are a little bit brutal to achieve sometimes, and I'm also really stubborn with my goals too. That's also why I'm a wrestler and I'm a dentist, so I'm, in my mind, the best is yet to come. After losing her title to Thunder Rosa, it remains to be seen what's next for Baker. Talking about his Hall of Fame WWE career on the True Geordie podcast, The Undertaker revealed that being on the road put a strain on his relationship with family. I can safely say there was an 8-year stretch where I averaged over 250 dates a year on the road. As you can imagine, you're so wrapped up in it, and I am so wrapped up in this character. I can't just come home. We would be out 40 days. I would come home for 5. At the beginning of the 3rd day off, I am ready to go. I am just conditioned to always be on the go. I wasn't tuned into my wife at the time. Probably the biggest negative aspect was my oldest son. I missed him growing up. I wish I could have been a better man and figured that out. My relationship with my kids, my older kids, they had to pay a sacrifice for me to do and become what I am. You can look back. You learn from your mistakes. I was fortunate enough that I remarried Michelle and I. Now we have young children. So I was blessed enough to get a second chance to be a dad and be a husband. But I had no business being married while trying to build this character and this legacy. Talk about his eldest son, Taker said, our relationship now is good. But the whole point was that I missed so much. I wasn't there for the ball games and all of that. I was fortunate enough that he realized that he wanted to give me a second chance. That was one of the greatest gifts that anyone has ever given me, was that second chance to be a dad to him. But my kids have definitely had to pay the price for my success. With Stone Cold Steve Austin said to be in great shape ahead of his WrestleMania segment with Kevin Owens, the Observer would point out that there are potential changes coming to this spot. There were reports this week that the Austin Owens segment would end the show. According to those in WWE, as of midweek, Flair vs. Rousey was scheduled to close the show, but it was also noted that match order changes frequently and will continue to change until the day of the show. The only thing locked from the start has been Roman Reigns vs. Brock Lesnar closing the Sunday show. Going back to the topic of Cody Rhodes joining WWE, MJF would say during his interview with Ariel Helwani that he is not surprised by Cody's move. I wish him the best of luck, I really do. I hope he finds happiness, and I hope he makes a boatload of money. Have we had our issues in the past? Absolutely. Do I love him as a human being? Maybe not, but I respect him as a businessman. Look, this is the same guy who I whipped several times as I watched his wife cry and weep. I'm not saying we're buddies, I'm not saying I like the guy, but what I am saying is I respect what he's doing as a businessman, and quite frankly, by 2020, 24, if people have an issue with me leaving to go make real money, then me and him are going to be fighting on the same exact island. No, I'm not surprised, because we have so many weapons and we have so many top guys in our promotion. The wheel's just gonna keep on turning. Now, was Cody Rhodes a big weapon in our arsenal? Absolutely. That's why I look forward to seeing what he does as a weapon does for the rest of his career. After suffering a cardiac event in September, Triple H has been away from his WWE duties. In the meantime, Shawn Michaels has been doing a lot for NXT in the game's absence. Today, Triple H took to social media to let fans know that there would be an update on his health and future during his interview with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN+. Now, WWE has put out that Triple H has officially retired from in-ring competition, citing issues with viral pneumonia which led to emergency surgery and a defibrillator in his chest. Former WWE star Fandango has been doing work for the NWA and various promotions since being released last year, as he took to Twitter today to let fans know that he will be stepping away from the ring in a couple of months. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.